What perennial ryegrass seed is best? Today I'm going to be going over mostly blends, so SS9000, 5-iron, Knorr's blend, and Podium is my new blend. Locations I ended up exempting due to temperature were very minimal, just California for heat, North Dakota for cold. I figure anyone buying the best grass seed they can possibly get is going to be fertilizing their lawn. I think that's a pretty safe bet. I exempted any locations from NTEP that didn't fertilize, so Connecticut, Michigan, Missouri, Utah, and Colorado. I exempted these due to mowing height. So these were mowed at less than half an inch, so 0 to 0.5 inches at Kansas and Wisconsin. So didn't really need those. The 4 climate definitions, I've got a cold winters climate definition, I've got a mild climate definition, and then semi-mild, and then I've got a whole bunch of locations that are mostly in the east. So Virginia, New Jersey, Maryland, Illinois, Kentucky, Nebraska, these had similar July lows, so 64, 65, 67, 65, 67, 66, so 6 locations, and they had similar July highs, 84, 86, 89, 85, 87, 88, and they had similar enough January lows, anywhere from 17 degrees to 25 degrees. So these are all similar enough climates in terms of temperature. I've got about 100 hours in this. If you want my data to be as helpful as possible, you need to do this one thing. So get on Google. I'm going to use San Jose as an example. So San Jose, California, and then just type in the word climate. So I type in your city name with the word climate. You should see something like this. If you don't, just find a nearby city that's a little bigger than yours, do the same thing. You should get something that looks like this. Click out all months. All I care about is the January low. So that's kind of how cold your area gets. And then the July low. That's essentially how much disease pressure you have. If this is like 65, if it's getting to 70, you've got a lot of disease pressure. If it's around 60, you've got moderate disease pressure for this July low. So those are the 2 things we care about. And that will be right at the top of these sheets over here. So on seed-boss.com, this one page here is universal. This is the disease score. So this is these 5 diseases: stem rust, red thread, brown patch, crown rust, and gray leaf spot, all added together and divided by 45, because a perfect score would be 99999. You'll notice there's some gaps here. So there's no first, there's no third, there's no 7th, there's no 10th, because there were 114 ryegrasses tested, but that doesn't mean that there's 114 ryegrasses available. So this is really only stuff that you'll be able to find and that you can actually source. You'll see silver sport, fastball, slugger, gray wolf, and I've got the blends. These are by cultivar average. I'm not going to touch on the blends just yet, but in terms of individual cultivars for disease, the 236, 35, 46 came in number 1. Zoom 2 was second of stuff you'll actually get. Spike GLS is 3rd. Paragon is 4th. Mystique is 5th. So these black highlights with the kind of turquoise color going on here, this is what I'm going to stock for rye. That's going to be my blend, this Podium, and it's just Mystique, Zoom 2, and the 236, 35, 46. And these kick butt in the quality, in all locations, and color. And they also have a really killer disease score. I'll show you guys head-to-head up against Knorr, 5-iron, and SS9000. They're just in a different league for disease. They also dominate in traffic, so Mystique basically got first of anything you can actually get. Zoom 2 got 3rd, and then this 236, 35, 46 got probably about 10th or 12th place. What you're looking at for color coding here, so this dark green, if you see that, that is the best of the best. That is top 10. If you see this light green, that is top 25th percentile. If you see this yellowish orange color, that is middle 50th percentile. And this pinkish reddish color, you won't see as much of that because the crappy cultivars don't tend to make it to the market. Apparently this one has done very well. This blend here is 2 crappy cultivars put together. That red there is bottom 25th percentile. So bottom 25th for disease. And by the way, Obsidian does not have Team Me Up cultivar this year. Or at least last I looked, it was just Hat Trick and Fireball. So these are essentially the same product, Blackout and Obsidian. Really bad traffic, really crappy POA, bottom 25th percentile POA. Bottom 25th percentile for spread trait, so that is stolons and tillering. Seed heads are right here. That is a metric. I'll get into that a little later in what I do for seed heads. I'll address that when I am talking about the blends. So this sheet here is universal. So there's 4 kind of finished pages on the Seed-Boss website. These sheets, 1, 2, 3, there's 4 different climate definitions here. So look at the top And if, you know, like I was saying, you Google your area, look at that January low, look at that July low. If you do think of your area as cold, yeah, you might want to look at the January low. If it's between these temperatures right here, this is the sheet for you. Now this overall score right here, this is 50% quality, 30% color, 20% 6 disease average for cold weather, and then all the other locations are 5 disease average. So the cold weather is the only one that takes snow mold into the overall scoring. So this overall score, quality, color, and disease. That's it. So even though the Seed Boss cultivars just dominate in traffic's not in that score. They dominate in Poa percentage. Poa percent after 5 years is not in that score. They dominate for spread trait and divot recovery, kind of self-repair, but that's not in the score either. So just keep that in mind. The cultivars did awesome despite not taking into account a lot of their strengths. Mystique got first in this area overall. So you could see the quality is quite good. And then color, Mystique did very well. It was actually first in the Iowa location and then third overall for color in this cold area. These climate definitions here, this column right here, this January lows 17 degrees plus and July average lows less than 57 degrees. You're really not going to see a temperature this low anywhere in the east. This is pretty much a west thing. In the west, we have cooler July lows, so we have a lot less disease pressure during the summer. So this column right here was what you would want to use for the Pacific Northwest. Virginia is the second location here, and you could see Podium did awesome, Zoom did awesome, Mystique did awesome. They did awesome in these locations as well. And this 236, 35, 46, this is the third in the Podium blend. It did quite well. And if you look at these, this is almost a three-way tie. So this, and this. I mean, if I took into account the spread trait, the Poa percentage after 5 years, or the traffic, any of those would put this cultivar up at third. So the reason I called this blend Podium Blend is because it reminded me of looking at a podium. First, second, and third place, all in one blend. Mystique did awesome, and I didn't like jimmy the numbers around to get it to look awesome. It just did awesome. So it's first at this climate definition. It is first at this climate definition. So Mystique did first there, and then third here. Slugger beat it, Zoom beat it. And so I can only sort by one of these, so I sorted by this one. But yeah, Zoom 2 is in first. I'm not going to do single cultivars of that just yet. I plan to bring in single cultivars of Zoom 2 in the 236, 35, 46. Come closer to spring, hopefully. But yeah, this Podium blend, I've got some of that on the way. I would recommend you do the blend just because the disease performance is so strong. There is no weak link in this blend. This one here is almost anything kind of in the east there. The temperatures, I kind of already went over that. They're similar in terms of the July low, July high, January low. They're similar enough. But I do have some options for you. For the overall score, I did a 6 location average. I also noticed that 3 of these locations have a more standard height of cut or higher, so 1.1 inch or higher, and 3 of these locations are 0.6 to 1 inch cutting height. So I did sort by cutting height if you want. Mystique was pretty even keel, just got second. Basically identical to the Slugger, but Slugger did very well in this heat. It's really one of the only things that beat the Podium blend in terms of individual cultivars. There's a couple, yeah, these are a little behind Podium. These 3 right here in the cold location would be ahead of Podium. All 3 of them are so strong for disease. Mystique is awesome for disease, and that's actually the worst of the 3. So that's how strong Podium blend is for disease. We have first place for disease, second place for disease, and 5th place is Mystique. So it's averaging basically 3rd place for disease. And 2nd place for disease is the best that 3 cultivar mix can do. I'm going to go over to the Seed Boss website. I'm not going to be comparing Obsidian or Blackout to Podium. I'm going to be comparing it to Knorr. I'm going to be comparing it to Seed Superstore SS9000, and I'm going to be comparing it to 5-iron. And against that, so I want a strongman argument against the 3 best, it's still going to be better than all of them. For quality, for color, for disease resistance, for traffic, for divot recovery, for Poa percentage after 5 years. Two areas Podium will be weaker is drought and seed heads. SS9000 was a little worse. I'll tell you what I do with my seed heads. It doesn't really matter all that much. I'm going to give you the promo code right now. So the first 20 people to use this get 10% off. And the promo code is simply 10 off. So just the number 10, OFF. First 20 people will get it. Anyone after that will not. Expected to ship January 20th. That's a ballpark, but it should be pretty close. I've already got the order in. All right, so 34% Mystique, 33% 236, 35, 46, and 33% Zoom 2. There is going to be some annual rye in most of these cultivars in general, so just make sure you keep your lawn mowed, no field conditions that first year. That way that annual rye will be gone, and it will just be a one-time thing and not an annual annoyance. If you do want good quality versions of these, click on the image. Here's my email, and I can get you the PDF version of these. Okay. All right, Podium up against the competitors. Disease score, Podium's first, 86%, 86.4. Knorr is in second place, 6% behind, 80.4%. Then these are all within about 3% of each other. So 80.4, 5 iron, 78.7, SS9000, 77.3. Podium is so far ahead, it's 6% ahead of the second place. So they're all within, you know, they're about 1% off from each other, and Podium is 6% ahead of second place. I think that's quite a bit, and here's what that looks like. So Podium's in first with stem rust, 8.9, second place, 8.0. So almost a full point above second place. SS9000, 7.3. We're getting closer to 2 points ahead of SS9000 for stem rust. 5 iron, fourth, 7.2. So 7.2 versus 8.9. We got a 1.7 difference there. Almost, I mean, closer to 2 points than 1 point. All right, red thread. This is the only individual disease that Podium did not get first of the bunch. So SS9000 was first at 7.5. Podium almost identical, 7.4. In second place, 5 iron also not really statistically different, 7.3. And then Knorr is actually statistically different at 7.0. Now, two of Knorr's cultivars have bottom 25th percentile for red thread, and those are both current cultivars. Oh, I do need to show you one thing real quick. Since I'm mentioning 5 iron and Knorr, I want to show you what I did. So I took the time, I probably spent roughly 15 hours, and this is 7,000 fields here, or just shy of 7,000 fields. So Pangea, I couldn't just pull the red thread rating on Pangea, because in that trial, Pangea got a 4.8 for a red thread, and the average was right around 4.8. So this is just like it ranked 46th out of 89 cultivars. In the newer trial, a really bad score is like 6.4. So I can't just give Knorr a 4.8 when a bad score is 6.4 when his did about average. So what I ended up doing is I entered not the entire trial, but quite a bit. I did location for quality. I did all the locations for quality that I could. The only one I couldn't do was Kentucky. I did all the locations I could for color. I did stem rust, crown rust, red thread, brown patch, and gray leaf spot. And I assigned a rank. So I ranked them here. I ranked them in the other trial. And then there were 30% more cultivars in the other trial, so I had to do an adjustment based on the number. So I did have to multiply the rank by 1.3, and then I placed it into the newer trial and then assigned Knorr, like for the red thread, I assigned Knorr a 7.3 score for the Pangea, because that is what, so his ranked 46th for red thread. So that's the equivalent of 60th, because there's more cultivars, about 30% more in the other trial. So that's 60th place. I went to 60th place. What's the red thread rating of that? I assigned that to Knorr. So it is a translation, but it's a very fair translation. If anything, it's a little bit generous to Knorr. And Infusion is 5 iron, which is the JR-178. So it won't say Infusion, it'll say JR-178 on the 2011 to 2014 data. So sorry, this is getting a little technical, but basically I did a translation of the data that's very fair to Knorr's blend, and also the Infusion, the 5 iron. So that's what I did. So there's almost 7,000 fields in about 15 hours just to get a little more fair to Knorr. It wasn't fair for me to assign 4.8 red thread to Knorr, obviously, when it's a middle of the road thing for this trial. And also gray leaf spot. They were handing out 8s and 9s like candy on this trial, where it was actually hard to get an 8 or a 9 on the other trial. I don't know if they gave out a 9 or not. I think they gave out 1 maybe, but anyway, Knorr, the Pangea is a great cultivar, a little weak for red thread, but Knorr's other two are actually weaker for red thread. That is how I did Knorr, that one cultivar Pangea, and I also did Infusion like this. So sorry about that little detour, but when I'm saying Knorr did this and 5 iron did that, for context, I had to translate those cultivars. All right, brown patch. Podium got first, 7.2, second place, 6.8 is Knorr. 5 iron SS9000, they both tied for third or fourth, whatever you want to say. at 6.5. So 6.5 to 7.2 is a 0.7 difference, and then only a 0.4 difference from Podium to Knorr. So first place for Podium there, first place for Podium for Crown Rest. 7.4, all the other three got 6.5. That's almost a full point difference. So 7.4 to 6.5. I would consider 6.5 a little bit of weakness myself. All right, gray leaf spot. Podium got 8 in first, not by much. So Knorr and 5-iron got second at 7.9. Then SS9000, I would probably avoid SS9000 just because of this if you're in kind of a warmer area. Got a 7, so a full point behind. So let's just real quick recap. So stem rest, a full point ahead of Knorr, almost 2 points ahead of the other two, or 1.6 and 1.7 ahead of the other two. Red thread, second place, basically not statistically significant, except Knorr is an exception. I think the fact that 2 of Knorr's cultivars were bottom 25th percentile and the other one was slightly below average, that I would say is just not a great showing for Knorr for the red thread. All right, brown patch, Podium at 7.2, 6.8, and 6.5. So nothing too major there, but 7.2 versus 6.5 on the 5-iron and the SS9000. These are different for sure. All right, Crown Rest, 7.4. All 3 of the other ones are almost a full point behind. Gray leaf spot, New Jersey, Podium 8.0. So Podium, Knorr, and 5-iron all did great for gray leaf spot. And SS9000, full point behind, so not quite as good. 5-iron was looking pretty good for gray leaf spot, but that Infusion cultivar is actually kind of a dud. I'm surprised it's in there. I wouldn't want it in anything. All right. Traffic and wear score. So this score is based on table 20, 21, 22, and 44. Virginia, Oregon, and Massachusetts all had a traffic related quality score. I think Virginia had multiple years. I think I took 2018, 2019 and averaged it, so one location wouldn't have too much weight. But yeah, Virginia, Oregon, and Massachusetts, I believe it is. Those all had a quality score that just straight up got added together, and then New Jersey was a wear score, so this is a traffic and wear score, and I just added all 4 of those numbers up and then ranked, boom. So just highest number goes to the top, lowest number goes to the bottom. So Podium got first, and 5-irons in second, SS9000 in third, Knorr in fourth for the traffic and wear score. Poa Annua percentage after 5 years. 2 of the cultivars in Podium are 0% Poa after 5 years. And my theory with this Poa percentage, I think it's a really reliable thing because I could actually look at the disease score and I started to see trends, the quality and the disease, how a cultivar was performing as I'm entering all the data. And I could actually almost pretty accurately predict how much Poa a cultivar would have. So I started being like, I think this is going to be 3.3%, and then it was like 5 or 2.7 or whatever. It was really close to what I was expecting it to be. So I could kind of tell how much Poa a thing was going to have based on the divot recovery, but mostly the disease was huge as far as a correlation to the Poa. So we've got Poa Annua. So Podium got first, 1.1%. SS9000 in second, 1.7%, 5-iron in third at 2%, and Knorr in fourth at 3.6%. And again, these are per cultivar averages. So 2 of the cultivars in Podium, for example, were 0%, one of them was 3.3%, so average 1.1%. Drought. So this is one thing where Podium won't come in first. So SS9000 is in first at 5.6, Knorr is basically identical, 5.59. 5-iron is close enough at 5.51. This is a quality rating out of Utah. Keep in mind this is an unfertilized location, so I wouldn't trust this number too much, but Podium came in fourth at 5.31. So this is watered only to prevent dormancy. In the Utah location, they also watered Utah more, to prevent stress, but they did not fertilize either location. All right, seed heads. Table 20, so Knorr got first, 6.4. Now, if you weren't going to address seed heads, this would be a pretty big deal to me. Rye seed heads or something else. So Knorr did very well there, 6.4. 5-iron got second, 6.16. Podium got third, so not quite the worst, but not great, 5.67. And SS9000 got fourth, 5.53. Now, what I do with seed heads, I let them hang out for about a month. I let them feel like they reproduced. And then over the next week or 2, I slowly scalp. I lower my height of cut. I want to make sure I'm cutting above the crown. It doesn't have to be much, but a little bit above the crown as to not stress the plant out and make it more difficult for it to recover. So I cut just above the crown, and then I give it 0.4 pounds of nitrogen is what I do. If you are in a warmer area, I would probably do a little less, like 0.3 pounds of nitrogen. And then I just, make sure it's watered, and I let that nice, fresh, perfectly green growth happen. And that basically buries the seed heads. So the seed heads are like little toothpicks, little woody. The seed head stalks, they're these little straws that are really woody and hard, and they create this like kind of blonde yellow look to your lawn. So it's not like the whole thing, but just little speckles throughout. And so what I like to do is just get them gone, mow them off, and then just let it regrow. And that buries them in the canopy, and also it's nice and soft. So it'll feel nice and also look nice. And I do that every year. I do that once a year, but I let them hang out a month, slowly bring it down as not to stress it out too much. I don't want to encourage disease or something like that. I slowly bring my height down, and they're gone. Next, good for another year. All right, so that's what I do with seed heads. I've done that, and I would do that even if I had Knorr's. Knorr has a nicer seed head rating. All right, climate-specific performance. So we're out of the specialty performance. Now we are in specific climate. So Iowa, Minnesota. So this is cold winters climate. So this is going to be that climate definition of a January low between 10 to 16 degrees Fahrenheit. All right, so Podium did first for the all-around score. Again, that's 50% quality, 30% color, and 20% 6 disease average in this cold location because pink snow mold is in here. All right, so Podium got first, 6.3, and I think it's interesting, SS9000, 5-iron, and Knorr are all right there together. There's no statistical difference, 6.08, 6.08, 6.07. So they're all within 1/100th, and then the Podium blend is 22 hundredths above them. So 22 times more distance from first place to second place than from second place to fourth place. All right, quality, not huge differences here. So 5.83, 5.79, 5.78, 5.72. Color, Podium's in first, 6.37, 6.13. I would say that is a difference for sure. 5-iron 6.05 and Knorr 6.03. So you're getting about 1/3 of a point for color. Pretty good, actually. All right, Oregon, all around. So this is just the Oregon location. So this is the Pacific Northwest. Unfortunately, there's not very many locations I can use. I'd like to have used Connecticut, would have been my second preference for climate. But the unfertilized location, I'd rather just have one good location than one that's fertilized and one that's not. All right. So all around, so this is the 50-30-20 score. Podium, first place, 7.19, second place, 7.03, 7, and then, so that's Knorr is 7, and then SS9000 is 6.97. So these are all around 7, and then Podium is 7.19. So again, the difference between these, second place and fourth place is only 0.06, so 6/100ths, and then the difference between first place and second place, it has the next one beat by 16/100ths. So that's how much better it is. Like they're all neck and neck, but it's not right there. It's separated, and a lot of that is a disease score. And it's also a little darker and a little better quality in general. All right, so Podium, first place, 6.9. Second place, 6.88, not really statistically significant, 6.83, and then 6.73. Close enough for all these, but you're getting about, not quite a 1/4 point from first to fourth, but something like that. All right, color, Podium in first, 7.3, and Knorr tied for first in the Oregon location, 7.3. 5-irons in third at 7.24, and SS9000, 7.2. So you're not really going to notice this color difference, in my opinion. Same with the semi-mild location. What you might notice is the better disease and the better quality, but the quality is close as well. Mostly you're getting a better disease score, you're getting better traffic, and you're getting better Poa percentage, you're getting better divot recovery. Those are the things that are more notable to me. And those aren't in the overall score for the most part, just the disease. Oregon, Virginia, so this is a semi-mild climate. You could use this in like Connecticut or Virginia is an option, but I would probably stick to this bottom climate definition if you're anywhere east. All right. So all around score, Podium in first, 7.16, SS9000 second, 6.99, Knorr and third, 6.98, 5-iron in fourth at 6.96. So again, look how close these three all are, 6.99 to 6.96. So only 300 separates them, and then 1700 separates Podium and the second place. Just a little bit better. All right, SS9000. First place goes to, quality here is SS9000. So this is the only quality, color, or all-around score that went to any competitor is right here. Quality in the Oregon, Virginia climate definition. So SS9000, so this is the semi-mild climate definition. So SS9000 got first, not by much, so 6.87, not really statistically significant, 6.83, so only 400ths off. And then the next place is 800ths behind, 6.75, and then 6.68 for Knorr. All right, color. This is just Oregon, so this is a repeat. We've already done this. So Podium and Knorr got 7.3. The other ones were 5 iron at 7.24 and SS9000 at 7.2. Not really statistically significant. All these locations here. So these are, I consider this warm July nights. So there's some disease pressure here. I know Mystique did very well, and also Podium did well by itself. The disease is just so strong on that. So they don't seem to care that much. Now, one thing to keep in mind is I would still recommend a blend when you're in these warmer areas. I'd recommend a blend anyway when you can get a blend that doesn't have weakness in any of the cultivars, like the Podium, there's just no weakness there. But one thing is Perennial Rye can get pythium, and pythium is something that's was not tested on NTEP, and it can hit it pretty hard. So just if you're in these locations, I'd recommend having fungicide on hand because if you get rain, it does tend to rain there during summer, and you get those warm July nights, you can get pythium pressure for sure. And just because Podium is ridiculous at other diseases doesn't mean that it's gonna be any better for pythium. It might not be any better at all. So just keep that in mind, that it would be good to have if it hits the fan, type of a fungicide on hand, and you might want to have preventatives on hand as well. All right, so New Jersey, Virginia, Maryland, Illinois, Nebraska, and Kentucky, these locations, I just kind of lumped them all together in this climate definition. So all around score, Podium's in first, 6.97, Knorr in second, 6.77, so 20 hundredths off from first to second. That's pretty notable, I think. Then only 5 hundredths separate second and third, so 5 irons in third at 6.72, and SS9000 really struggles in the heat, 6.54. So basically half a point off for all-around score from Podium to SS9000. So these are supposed to be the best of the best, and we've got almost half a point separating Podium and SS9000, and then about 0.2 points, about a quarter point from Knorr and 5 iron. Quality, Podium's in first, 6.28, 6.2 for Knorr, 5 iron in third, 6.18, and again, SS9000 struggles a little bit in the heat, 6.1. All right, color, Illinois and New Jersey. These are the only locations where color is available out of these 6. Podium, first place, 7.58. This is pretty notable from the SS9000. All right, so 7.58, about 18 hundredths from first to second. So Knorr is in second at 7.4, so about 0.2 off on your color. I think that you'd probably see that, I'm not sure. 5 iron third place, 7.39, basically tied with Knorr. And then SS9000 again struggling in the heat, 6.98, where the color on Podium is 7.58. So yeah, this SS9000 would be considered pretty elite, but this is not, that's not really that close. Yeah, that's a big difference. Seeding rate is right here. And then these are just tips for success. Like if you're doing a spring seeding, make sure you're on top of your nitrogen. It's important to get as much establishment before those summer months as possible. And with rye, it's pretty nice with rye because it will get down there and establish. Like the pictures on the website for Mystique are, they're at 58 days. I took another one up on my roof. I was just up there doing subsiding, and that one I think was at 72 days. I don't know, it's written on there. And then someone else has one real early, and it looks like an established lawn. So pretty nice for rye. You kind of have the option of doing a spring seeding, and fall is a little more forgiving. You don't have to be as on it with the nitrogen, but I recommend it's right here. Basically half a pound of nitrogen at seeding, and then every 3 to 4 weeks throw another half pound out there until it slows down due to the heat. You don't want to keep throwing nitrogen out during the heat. You can throw smaller rates, but yeah, keep it light during the heat. All right, guys, so I would recommend if you want copies of any of these, you can request, I'll just give you all 4 pages, but just email me at lawncareminimalist@gmail.com. Remember that promo code, it's only going to work for the first 20 people, so it's just 10 off. 10 OFF. This ended up being a lot more involved than I expected. This alone is about 25,000 fields of data here, So this is just off NTEP, and then I duplicated some fields here, so this might be 20,000 on this sheet. And I also ended up entering almost 7,000 fields from the 2011 to 2014 data. I'm already working on bluegrass. I can show you what I have going. It's pretty boring and lame, but it's just this. I'm just entering the cultivars and the quality on the locations that are fertilized. Again, I'm gonna just do the fertilized locations. I think that's most reflective of what my customers are actually gonna do to their lawns. They're probably not gonna buy the best grass seed in the world, spend the money on good grass seed, and then not fertilize it. See you guys, signing off.